Welcome to Welcome to Jesus Bible Study. We are going to be in the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Even as Solomon had warned his son to refuse the enticements of the world, the flesh, and the devil, he's also warning you. Also, the Lord has warned us to do the very same thing. It says so in the scriptures. Because we are God's sons. We are his daughters. And he provides us with instructions that we need to follow. Those who have cast off any purpose to obey this law from God, and you just refuse and you just continue to keep living in this continual unrepentant practice of sin, you're going to fall. You're going to fall away from grace. You're going to fall away from God. You're going to fall right into the pit of hell. We cannot be forced to sin. That is our own will. That is our own choice. We can give up our sins to God. We can come to him and say, Lord, take this of me. And by that, you got people who have addiction problems. God can and is willing to remove those things out of you, just like that. I could testify to that. I drank, I smoked weed, I smoked cigarettes. I pretty much almost have since I was like a very young age. I believe I was like around 12 I started smoking. And I have continuously my whole entire life. Up until I was, I want to say, about, was it 46? I constantly did it every day. I would go nuts if I didn't have my cigarettes. I mean, I would be just this mad lunatic. It wouldn't bother me so much as long as I had my weed, but if I didn't have either or, oh, good Lord, help me, help other people, because it was not pretty. But when God called me back to Christ, and I gave everything to him, I never picked up another cigarette. Smoking weed never bothered me. Not once. Not one time that I even have I gone back to it. Have I even thought about it? It's like I have never even done them a day in my life. When God delivered me from that, I mean, he delivered me from it. I don't have no problems about it. It doesn't bother me. I don't think about it. And it never once, not once, do I sit there and think, oh man, I wish I had a cigarette today. And I smoked for that many years. A pack every day. If I was drinking, probably 2 packs. I drank more when I smoked. I mean, I smoked more when I drank. Now, when I drank, drinking doesn't bother me either. Of course, I drink a lot. I could drink 2 whole handles by myself in one day. And even though I drank a lot, I only mostly just drank when I was at work because I got paid to drink. And I didn't really drink too much at home. And there was no need to it. Maybe on my days off on occasion, if I wanted to sit there, I might grab me some wine and sit there. But I just didn't like drinking alone. It just wasn't a thing that I had to do. But the people who I worked with and my customers would have never known that. They would have thought I was a full-blown alcoholic. That, you know, as much as I drank and still almost have I was like you couldn't even tell half the time. you would have never known that I'd already drank 2 or 3 bottles throughout the whole day. Acting just like somebody else that maybe had one or two shots. That's how much I could handle. That's how much I could drink, and I never thought about it. At home, you would have thought I had that problem, but I didn't. But I still drank a lot, and that was like every day. I almost worked every single day. But I believe God was caught when God was calling me back, and I didn't even know it. I had and drinking didn't never bother me to not do it. When I quit work and decided to do this self improvement, I didn't have no problem not picking up a bottle. It did not bother me, and I could like to say that was all in me. But even though I didn't realize where God was put in front of me, what road He was taking me down when I started doing this self improvement kind of thing that I've been doing, because after my boyfriend was killed, I just had enough of that life. I started just going out there, and 2 times a week I was delivering food to Meals on Wheels to people. I was doing all kinds of volunteer work, community work, and this wasn't not court ordered or nothing. This was just me just literally going out there purposely because I wanted to help others. Because I was in so much pain and so much sorrow that I felt the only way I could heal and be better was to help those who were suffering too. And slowly that began, but little did I know that was God's way of bringing me back to Him, where He was slowly bringing me towards Him. Because that's where it ended up. That's where that road started taking me. After the first year, I just kept doing more and more work for other people, for the unfortunate. Going out there just feeding the homeless. I mean, I was doing all kinds of things. For people who was out there living on the streets, I'd come and let them stay in my garage during the holidays. And I got a lot of wrath for it. But people didn't understand what I was doing. And I wasn't even back into Christ yet. He hadn't called me back, but God was slowly working on me. But I don't, and I'm not saying this to sit there brag on, because it was nothing about me on my part. That had to be nothing but the hand of God that was on me, to where I did not pick up a drop of liquor. I don't know anybody that could drink that much constantly all the time every day and not become an alcoholic and not be an alcoholic, and not to where they had to constantly drink, and not where they just up one day and just said, well, I quit this job and therefore I no longer touched a bit of liquor ever again. And that's exactly what happened. Now I was still smoking weed, and I was still smoking cigarettes all the year after. But about a year and a half after I had quit my bartending job, that's when God started, while I was doing this, where I was on this self-improvement thing all by myself, and it was slowly leading me back towards Christ. And then after a year and a half of doing that, God just said, okay, now it's time to do for the real deal. Now it's time to come back to me. So I was still smoking both cigarettes and weed at that time. But when the moment He called me back, I was praying, and God came to me in a vision. And just like that, after that vision that I had encountered with God, and I had 2 visions within weeks on different occasions where God appeared to me while I was praying in the middle of the day, and I have never picked up a cigarette. I have never smoked any marijuana, and it does not faze me, it does not bother me. God can do that to you. And it wasn't something that I had planned on, or that was nothing I was praying for. That's just what happened when He did me, because He had called me to do something. He had wanted me to go out there and to reach His people. And in order to do so, I had to be in a right state of mind. But God can heal these things that you're living in of just like that. He does different things differently for different people because every